Да, 2:05.
205? Affirmative.
Очень трудно слышать, Ром.
Roman, it's very hard for me to copy you. Copy? Do you copy me now? Yes.
Сильно говорит, сказать.
Okay, say it again. At 2:05, send the command. I am ready. The ground gave us a go. D17, D17. Okay.
This video from the docking camera.
Hooks closed. Electrical connected. LEDs are no longer lit. Transfer hatch closed. Depot M2 confirmed. Shadow press confirmed. Page 96 now. Okay, copy. Next time, 2 hours, 9
And so, command issued to undock the craft again, this being given at 6:05 p.m. Central Time. It'll take about 3 minutes for the series of hooks holding the Soyuz craft in place to release.
Believe that we'll lose unintelligible slightly earlier than at 4:40, yes. The timer is on. Okay, I'm navigating away from here. Okay, I'm monitoring the timer. Okay, I can see your MER book in the window. When capture indicator will go off, we'll need to confirm SSVP mode off. Yes. The timer will turn itself on. We'll need to turn it off and confirm the execution of the mode. Roman, when the back off starts, monitor for foreign objects on the docking port. Will do. Okay, I will be monitoring. I'm ready. Too much noise. Where does it come from? From VHF. Well, we need some noise suppressors.
Continuing to get some camera views and telemetry from on board the Soyuz craft as it's making its pass over these Russian ground sites less than a minute now from scheduled undock and physical separation.
Okay, I'm deactivating.
Я готов. Да. Как нас слышно? Слава Богу.
Great. Okay, no gas off. Capture is still on. Standing by for physical separation in 35 seconds. Okay?
Лучше. Вот сейчас хорошо слышно.
Well, now I can copy you loud and clear. Approximately. In a minute, I will select depot. Okay, separation confirmed. Timer is on.
And separation confirmed at 6:08 p.m. Central Time while the station and Soyuz craft fly about 257 statute miles over eastern Mongolia.
Well, good luck. I'm looking at GSO1 to confirm, combine confirm. I can have a visual of the target. We're backing off. Well, so far it's peace and quiet. In 20 seconds. I'll be ready for A9. Stand by. That would be an auto. Oh, okay. Okay, that would be an auto. Yes, I can see it. Say it again. Yes, depot selection will be done in auto. Okay. But
again, physical separation from the International Space Station confirmed. The station was at an altitude of 255 statute miles over eastern Mongolia.
Do that.
Backing away at a rate of just a little over 1/10 of a meter per second.
R7. Okay. Depot B1 confirmed. Send in S7. Roman 7. Send in. We are monitoring, looking at the docking port. Well, at this distance, we can
Ничего не наблюдаю постороннего, однозначно.
hardly notice any foreign objects if there were any, but so far we confirm that it's clear. Okay? Flying farther and further. Yes, Roman, everything's great. Are we flying indeed? Well, so far, so good. Well, guys, best of luck. Okay, guys, bye.
Хорошо.
Depot will be firing for 15 seconds. Copy. Roman, soft landing to you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Спасибо, ребята.
Thank you, guys.
Next in the timeline, the Soyuz craft will be executing a 15-second burn of 2 of its engines, enabling it to further separate away from the International Space Station.
Сделаем конфигурацию связи после расстыковки. В СБ-2 точнее, я тебе говорю, и после конфигурации связи в СБ-1 вызывай меня. Ожидаем.
Depot firing for backup. Yes, so confirmed everything is nominal and we're standing by.
Делаем операцию по конфигурации связи после расстыковки. Для того, чтобы у нас появилось на борту СБ-1. Есть вращение двигателя.
Okay, depot firing. We confirm acceleration. I can.
And separation burn confirmed.
Don't worry, we'll accelerate it. You mean that the entire...
This will be a 15-second firing of the Soyuz engines, accelerating it to a little over half a meter per second separation from the International Space Station.
Thank you so much for all your work and for your cooperation.
And confirming that the burn has been completed.
Вам спасибо, ребят. Всего хорошего. Спасибо.
Okay, the burn is complete. Backup burn. We'll be sending order via command radio link, and then we'll be recording the descent set points. Okay, we're monitoring. Stop. At 12.
Again, separation burn confirmed. The 15-second burn of the Soyuz engines taking place at 6:11 p.m. Central Time. This now enabling the craft to continue to separate itself away from the International Space Station, eventually opening up to a distance of 12 kilometers or just under 7.5 miles, setting up the staging for the eventual deorbit and landing burn.
What about the photos? Did you make a few good ones? I can see the Earth.
Да, да. Ром, отлично, отлично получились, только солнце светит прямо в глаз. Я понял. Не в ту сторону отваливай. Все замечательно.
Okay. Close out ops per page 90 inaudible will be done on your go. Copy.
Сейчас будете обратно доворачивать.
97.
Мама, Ром, все стабильно. Это хорошо.
Okay.
Красавица станция. Да, отпустила нас своими батареями.
Okay.
Как бы руки к нам протянула.
We can see the entire ISS and the solar rays like the arms stretched out to embrace us for the final goodbye.
Том, тебе видно?
Tom, can you see? Yes.
Как может быть реальность?
It seems unreal.
Unreal. Итак,
Okay.
по заключительным операциям по команде Земли будем выдавать
On
команды. Я передаю.
MCC go, we'll start doing the closeout ops.
Я только готов, едем. Да.
I'm ready.
So the Soyuz continuing to open up the gap of distance between it and the International Space Station. That undocking again coming successfully at 6:08 p.m. Central Time, while the station was flying just about 255 statute miles over eastern Mongolia. Separation burn was completed successfully, firing 2 of the Soyuz engines just 3 minutes later at 6:11. The Soyuz will continue to open the gap between itself and the International Space Station over the next few hours, eventually getting to a distance of about 12 kilometers away or just under 7.5 miles.
33, да.
0333, right? Right.
Сказал.
Your next compass will start dynamic mode and build in the attitude for the maneuver. From GoPro cameras will be activated at 0330 as agreed. Okay, copy 0330. 5 minutes prior to accelerometer activation via command radio link and 8 minutes prior to RDR. Copy. Or there. So far, we're on page 97, standing by. Affirmative. We confirm separation. We continue to back off. We can barely see the docking port, but we can still observe the station. 3 more minutes. First, you are going to proceed with the closeout ops on page 97. And then, please will be written down the descent set point. We copy and the closeout ops doesn't work. The mode.
Soyuz Commander Roman Romanenko continuing to give status calls following that successful undocking to the teams in Koryov, Russia. You can see their mission control center here. Meanwhile, the landing teams in both Zhezkazgan and Karaganda getting into their helicopters and beginning to head towards the landing zones.
Okay. RRP program LED is lit, that's okay. Are you guys loading the set points? It's actually done and RRP program is already in. Okay, copy. I'm getting ready for E1.
G4.
E1 sent, G4.
Давай.
Okay, you go for G4.
Выдал, да?
Did you send it?
Ага. Есть G4.
G4 confirmed.
D8.
Now send in D8, deactivating SSVP.
D8.
D8.
SVP, отключить.
SSVP off. OFF.
Фара не горит.
Floodlight is also off. Writing down the parameter, KDO parameters.
Шарбалан, 100.
Bottle 1,
Yes.
169er.
170.
Bottle 2, 175.4.
Есть, перешли на связь.
Drop, unintelligible.
Страница.
Go into page 102.
Согласен. Следующее время.
Next time, 0330.
Правильно.
Affirmative.
Отдыхаем.
Now we're taking a break.
Ревербератор.
Can you see here the reverberator?
Эко, да. Признак спуска введен. Это хорошо.
Descent signature is loaded.
Wow. What's that?
Breaking up.
Будильник.
Alarm?
Согласен. Хорошая идея.
325 maybe?
3:25, да.
Affirmative, 325.
So again, the Soyuz TMA-07M successfully undocking from the Roscosmos module and the International Space Station. That undocking coming at 6:08 p.m. Central Time, while the station was 255 statute miles over eastern Mongolia. Meanwhile, on board, the crew of 3, Roman Romanenko, Chris Hadfield, and Tom Marshburn, continuing to give down status calls, everything functioning as expected. Remaining on board the International Space Station, the crew of Expedition 36 now officially started following the departure of that Soyuz craft. Leading them will be Russian cosmonaut Pavel Vinogradov there in the center. He'll be joined by NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Mazurkin for the remainder of their time on board the station, currently scheduled to come home a little bit later in mid-September. But following that undocking, the separation burn coming on time at 6:11 p.m. Central Time. The Soyuz engines firing for about 15 seconds in order to increase the separation rate from the slow crawl of only a tenth of a meter per second to over half a meter per second. This will enable the Soyuz to open a gap to a distance of about 12 kilometers or 7.5 miles away from the International Space Station before eventually setting it up for deorbit and entry through the Earth's atmosphere. You can see a rough timeline of all of those events that will be taking place. It'll do that initial impulse or deorbit burn, following that module separation, where the orbital module on top and the propulsion and instrumentation modules will detach from the descent module, which will then continue its path through the Earth's atmosphere, the heat shield protecting it, the crew inside from the effects of atmospheric re-entry. Following that controlled descent, the parachutes will eventually deploy, slowing the Soyuz craft down to a much slower rate of only about 7.2 meters per second. Meanwhile, the major events coming up for you next will be our landing coverage, our final broadcast for this evening, which will begin at 8:15 p.m. Central Time here on NASA TV. The deorbit burn scheduled to take place at 8:37, the final touchdown and landing in Kazakhstan at 9:30 p.m. Right now, the landing and recovery forces are mobilizing and heading out to their helicopters at the airports in Zhezkazgan and Karaganda. The prime team coming from Zhezkazgan and consisting of all of the necessary personnel such as flight nurses and crew surgeons, and also the RSC Energia personnel who will be in charge of safing the vehicle and also erecting the medical tent for the crew. They'll be joined in the air by 3 fixed-wing aircrafts, one of which will be acting as the command and control center for all of the landing operations, relaying communications from the crew on board the Soyuz craft back down to the mission control center in Koryov, and also teams on the ground. Again, all those teams mobilizing and heading out. They'll be departing momentarily as they all 12 aircraft, 8 coming from Zhezkazgan and 4 from Karaganda, will meet up at the landing site and form a racetrack fashion around which they'll fly and wait for the Soyuz to pass through the Earth's atmosphere and eventually touch down, then landing and extracting the crew. All of that again scheduled to take place a little bit later this evening at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. But with that, we will go ahead and end our broadcast for undocking, successful undocking.
Keep it depressed. Keep it depressed. We want to hear your voices. Okay.
Надо привести в порядок, пока светло.
We need to straighten all the cables out while we are in installation. We don't want them to be loose.
Здесь, короче, вместе забей. Здесь не очень. Да, не очень.
Well, not a good location.
Right now we're getting some live views from the station external cameras as we just got back into range of the teeter satellites responsible for relaying data and video communications back down to the teams here in Houston. Swinging the cameras around real quick to see if we can get some views of that departure of the Soyuz craft.
That's a good way to do it. And we'll also need to stow away the pencil.
Знаешь что? Может быть, ручной? Что ручной?
Maybe we should do it manually. Manually, do what?
Вон тот карандаш справа.
You see the pencil on the right?
After the successful separation burn, the Soyuz is departing the International Space Station a little bit over a meter per second.
Because when we'll start experiencing G-loads, the flash...
Rather, a little over half a meter per second.
Go ahead and wrap it up one more time. Wrap it around it. Okay.
Our chair and the wall. Everywhere around the должен быть his helmet also. Понял.
Understood?
Должен быть свободно.
No, this one has to be free, okay? And then, after the separation, we'll start experiencing more G-loads and we'll tighten our straps and it will help us. But I'm sure you know that. We didn't do it. Well, you see, we only descended in the shuttle. Don't you do that in the shuttle? No, it's slightly different. Okay.
Конечно, был. Тихий океан.
Pacific. Are you sure? Well, I suspect so.
Да. Сан-Диего.
San Diego.
Ты был? Нет.
Have you been there? Nope.
Красивое место.
It's a beautiful place. I'm sure. Is it a Wild West?
Спортивный? Да.
Well, this is athletics center. Great weather, very stable. Actually, the Pacific ensures very stable weather. Can you see the mountains from there? No. What about San Francisco? Is it? I'm talking about the mountains. Mountains are far away. If you need good mountains, go to Vancouver or Seattle or Portland.
Vancouver.
Vancouver would be my preference. Okay. Okay, then I think I'll go to Napoli or maybe Denver. I don't believe you have real mountains in Denver.
Miami.
Well, the place where you don't have any mountains would be Miami.
Cuba, может быть. Наконец. Houston.
Well, finally, Houston.
We can draw it.
Not too many mountains there, that's for sure.
Draw it in the computer.